Alright, welcome to episode 2. And I just want to get down to business and discuss what I actually want to do with this car. Like, what I want to do with it once it's being built. The first thing, the main thing that I want to do is cruise around and enjoy it. Like, I just want to be able to cruise down the street, have a little bit of a rock to it, because it's got a big fat, big block V8 in it. And just enjoy the... I was going to say enjoy the serenity, but no, it's not serenity. I want to enjoy the character of the car and just have fun with it. That being said, I would like to get into a bit of roll racing as well. Found out Queensland Raceway do some roll racing once a month or twice a month. I'll put a link in the description. I'd like to give that a go. So obviously we're now talking about a bit of performance, both in suspension and engine and brakes, of course. I would like to do a little bit more with the aesthetics of the car. I'd like to learn how to do some molding and remold some parts and put a little bit of a scoop. Talking to some other people in some Galaxie forums, the Galaxie did have a bit of a vapor lock issue, which is kind of where gas, the petrol that coming into the engine gets a bit too hot and doesn't atomize correctly and doesn't get into cylinders properly and won't start, or it blocks up fuel passages. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but just makes it hard to drive the car. So bit of a scoop out the front, but a custom scoop, something for me. That's what I'd like to do with the car. A little bit of cruising, street cruise, though, like almost a road race combination. So get suspension, get performance, and get the car reliable. It's got a 9-inch Ford 9-inch diff in the back anyway, so we're pretty good there. It's an open diff, not LSD, unfortunately, but it's not too hard to change. What else? At the moment, the car is a light blue. It's I think it's called sky blue as its factory color. I'm not 100% sure. I'd like to keep the original color of the car. I'd like to get the interior reupholstered in either a nice leather or Alcantara. I'd like to lower the front of the car a little bit and give it a bit more of a stance, and do that properly, either using drop spindles or a proper kit, not cutting springs or anything like that. I'd like to get the handling sorted out of the factory. These cars weren't too bad with the handling. They do have a relatively good sway bar in them. The front is IRS, the rear is springs and shocks, not leaf springs. It is live axle, so it's not IRS or anything like that. That was way too old for that. I would like to make the windows electric. I'm not sure if you can see the windows here. Yeah, windows electric. Just to be able to control them from the dash here, so you can have them all down. So that's part of the cruising thing. So you can have all the windows down and you sit there with your arm out. It's looking cool. That'd be awesome. The car has a 390 cubic inch big block, the FE engine. I'd like to change that a bit and make it 427 fuel injected. That would be pretty cool. I like that. I like the idea of an automatic transmission. I know automatic transmissions are great for high horsepower applications, but I would also I like a bit of involvement in my driving. So automatic's cool for mashing the pedal and stopping, but I wouldn't mind being able to control gearing and changing the gears. So I'd like to make it either manual, either sequential, so race sequential, or dual clutch system, and figure out some way of doing that. And some of you guys probably are thinking that's blasphemy because it's a cool old car, but and you got your purists. You do have your FOMOCO purists. I'm not one of those. I would like to update the car so it has all of the modern componentry and electronics that a modern car has, like electric windows, like a Bluetooth stereo, but I really do want to keep its old original aesthetics. I want to keep the dash original. I want to keep the outside look and feel original, maybe with just better headlights and stuff like that. LED lights in general, actually. I want to actually, for the dash, we'll talk about the dash, and I've got a bit of an issue with the dash. I live in Queensland. We had, Queensland, Australia, that is. We had about 2 weeks of 35, 40 degrees. And the week leading up to that, I jumped in the car and I pulled the dash off. I did a little bit of work to pull out the ignition tumbler for the key, and sat the dash on the back parcel in the sun for what I thought was only going to be a couple of days. It was actually meant to be a day. Ended up being a week, and that week was the hottest week on record, I think. And this is what happened to the dash. Not sure if you guys can see that. Yeah, I melted it. So I had to go and find a new one of those, and I'd like to do a shout out to Norm. He's helped me out a couple of times already, and I'm pretty sure he's going to help me out some more. Yeah, so dash. Doing a bit of work to the dash. The ignition switch fell apart, so I had to gin up a start button till the new one come in, and it has come in. I've just got to install it now. But I would like to have the so I'd like to have the original radio still in the dash, still where it is, but Bluetooth enable it. So it looks and feels exactly like the original dash does, but the knobs turn power on, turn the control the volume, maybe control some of the functions like hands-free functions, and a few other functions like that, but make it look original. So that's what I mean by keeping the dash looking original and functioning like a modern car. The same with suspension and handling. I'd like to give that a bit of a more modern look. So I've been looking into 4-link conversions for the back of this car. It already has a 3-link, which is fairly adequate, but probably just needs beefing up a little bit, bigger sway bars, etc, etc. So I'll have a look into that as well. Talking in the previous episode about having an understanding what the history of the car was before purchasing it. Well, one of the things that I've learnt between now and then is that the front of the car was going through a conversion from drum brakes to disc brakes using a donor car, either from a Granada or something of that ilk or era, and it was only half done. So I actually have a disc, a knuckle that is from a Granada, and a caliper bracket, but no calipers. I have thought about just getting the calipers for that and just driving along, but after a little bit more research, I've found that the car is its geometry isn't quite exactly the same, so I've got to find a solution there. I'd like to put a set of Willwoods, only because everyone else seems to use Willwood and they seem like a good brake, they seem like a good system. I've heard of other systems in Australia. Hopper Stoppers is one, actually, and I'll have a look into that. Actually, I will have a look into that because they're Australian, and I like to support Australian, and could be easier to source rather than trying to figure out what I need through email with a Willwood representative. Another thing I'd like to use the car for is possibly a bit of drifting, maybe. I don't know, it'd be cool. Taking a bit of cue from Hot Rod Garage and the Barracuda that they built for drifting. Tony Angelo, being a previous drifter, always wanted a big muscle car for drifting, and I love that. I thought that was fantastic. That would be cool to do to this too. Something else I'd like to upgrade is the wiring in the car. The wiring is fairly old. It's still got the original fuse box, which if you're an OEM kind of guy with these builds, then that's cool, but if I want to start to run additional circuits, then upgrading it a little bit to allow me to do that is just going to make my life easier. The first milestone that I need to achieve with this build, with this car, is getting it on the road. For me, that's probably the most important aspect. Getting it back on the road, getting it driving, getting it using it in its current form, warts and all, like the dents and surface rust and some of the rust that is in it, if I can get it registered. The shoddy seats, let me show you this, shoddy vinyl seats, all ripped up. The back seat's pretty good though. That's a pretty damn good seat. Yeah, that's my first goal. Get it registered. I want a sticker, number plates on the car, and be able to drive this baby down the road. That's my first step. And with that, let's do a walk around of the car. First part, as we're getting out of the Australian driver's door, which is the passenger door in this car, let's look at the door. The first part is the weather seals. The weather seals aren't too bad here. They're looking a little bit rough, but they're not too bad. The door itself is pretty clean. If you have a look underneath here, there is a little bit of rust here though. That little bit of rust, but the rest of the car is not too bad. It's got a fair bit of surface rust. Sorry, the rest of the door isn't too bad. Got a bit of surface rust. Door skin needs to be changed, but I mean, it's not going to affect anything really as far as registration is concerned. Bit of surface rust, but nothing too bad. Coming along, there's a door here. You'll see that there's a little bit of a dent into this door here. And if you follow it a bit along further, there's a little bit of a dent here. Again, that won't affect registration, but little things I would like to get sorted out. This is a bit of major rust here. This is something I'm a bit concerned about. But if you look further underneath the car here, is pretty damn good. So I think that might be more a weather seal issue up here. Come around a bit further back. A little bit of rust there, it's not too bad. Underneath here is not too bad. It's a little bit bent. It looks like it might have had a bit of an accident in this fender, because you can see here there's a fair bit of bog. So I need a bit of straightening out there. Up underneath here there's actually a rust hole there, and there's a little bit of rust down here. But again, underneath isn't too bad. Bit of a rust up the top here, a bit of surface rust around. Oh, I thought that was it. Yeah, so just up underneath here there's a little bit of a crack just there, so I've got to find some way of getting that fixed. Might have to do some extra work there, learn how to do some moulding and mould my own, which I'm pretty excited about. I'd like to give that a go, and I'll definitely do an instructional video, or we call it a learning video. Me learning, stuffing up, and you guys laughing and figuring out what I did wrong. What I'm trying to do here is open the boot. There's no tumbler in there. That's my new radiator. Thanks for that, Norm. It was much appreciated, and is completely different to the one that's in the car, so you'll see that in a minute. This is mystery box number 1, and this is mystery box number 2, and this is a hole in the boot. So this whole boot trunk needs to get completely replaced, and one of the spiders that live in Australia. Bit of a gentle soul up, that boy. We'll let him be. Alright, see this one's pretty good. This rear lens is not too bad. Maybe a little bit weather affected, so again, good candidate to do a moulding of and learn how to do moulding on a good one. Down here again, I see a little bit of rust and a few dents. That all needs to be replaced, fixed up. There's a few dents up underneath here, probably done in transport, but again, not too bad. This side of the car is pretty straight. If you can have a look, it's not too bad. I think part of the car just kind of dips in there, but that's part of it. But I'll try and straighten that out when we do some panel work. A bit more rust, same spot. So again, I think the weather seal. If you'll notice, the weather seals here are pretty terrible. So that water is just going to drip down into the quarter here and right out that part of the car, I think. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is a bit of a crease over here. No, I can't really see it. There is a bit of a crease over there that I'm going to have to look at. Again, hammer and dolly work. Learn how to do that stuff. Piece of cake, right? Pretty sure I'm going to stuff it up and have to get someone to come over and show me how it's done properly. Oh, forgot something else here. Bumper, bent. Got to get that straightened out. Figure out how to do that too. The good thing is I've got a lot of the chrome and whatnot in the car, so, and I've got a new set of wheels with it, like these. Brand new tyres, and the rims are nice. I like them. You cheeky bugger, throwing water bombs at me. All right, go up to mum and get some more water bombs. Moving around to the front of the car, might, if we can look along the edge here, see some ripples and bumps. Both of the front panels here have the same sort of thing. If anyone knows how to fix this, I'd love to hear from you. If it's, I know it's old hinges, but can I get new aftermarket hinges, or can I get anything else that's available? One second. Just gonna pop the hood. Engine bay. I actually bought the Aeroflow filter. Hey! You cheeky monkey! It's my eldest throwing water bombs at me. Got a little bit of straightening here to do, but the rest of it seems pretty good. Pretty straight. Just a little bit of straightening here to do, but I mean the rest of it looks pretty good. So I think just a bit of light hammer and dolly work would be quite helpful. Front bumper is actually quite straight. There's a little bit of chrome and stuff missing from it, but I'm actually thinking about brushed nickel as a finish instead of the chrome. I've seen a few cars with brushed nickel parts, and I really like that. It looks good. There's a little bit of a crack here on the fascia for the front headlight. I'm going to get new headlights for this. Hey, you cheeky monkey! As you can see, I actually don't have a workshop or a garage to put this in, so I bought this temporary tent to keep the car out of the elements a bit and give me some shade to work on it. So that's kind of the other thing with the build, is even if you don't have the perfect space, there's still ways of working around to kind of get to your goal, to get to what you want to do. Right, back at it. So this is the radiator. This is my completely different radiator to what was actually in the car. You can see there's a nice bit of plastic here for no real reason. There's no radiator support, which I don't know where that is. That's alright, we can figure that out. You can see here I need to do a little bit of rewiring. That's for the oil pressure sensor. What else? We've got our fuel line, which has got no fuel filter on it. Let's take this off. Got an Edelbrock carby. The new Edelbrock, I think it's Performer. Yep, Edelbrock Performer 390. Still got the original kickdown linkage. I've got a kickdown cable kit for that. Over here to the heater unit, or the cooling heating unit. All the wires are up, but there's no wires. They're just rerouted to each other here at the moment. Electric choke hasn't been wired up just yet. What else do we have? Oh, one thing I did notice, I actually did try to get the car started. Poured a little bit of fuel down the carby, hooked up the battery and used my button to kick it over, and it ran for a few seconds. There's no fuel in the fuel tank, so it didn't last very long, but it wasn't running very well, and this is why. It wasn't starting very well. The starting solenoid over there was starting to get really hot and show a bit of smoke, so something was burning in it, and I think this might have been why. There's a lack of earthing straps. So if I look at this one, there's an earth strap there that's not hooked up, and I don't think there's an earth strap. Well, there's the negative cable going to the block just down here. This one here goes down to the block, but yeah. Oh yeah, the alternator's earthed out, that's alright. But I was told there was a couple of earthing straps that needed to go on this car, so I fixed that up. One other thing, there's a crack in the windscreen. That will stop me from getting it registered. And I think some of the rust in the boot will stop me from being able to register it. Alrighty, that's it for this episode. Next episode I'll actually be wrenching. I'll be adding a speedo cable, the kickdown cable, and fuel filters to get the fuel system prepped for actually starting the car. So yeah, if you're still interested in keeping up with the build, hit subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll see you later.